We are back with a breaking news edition of the Breakdown Boys. Wade Sensei.
Oos.
Sensei, today is a day that already lives in infamy. We're recording this on September 11th.
Yes.
Obviously, we remember all those on September 11th. Tragic day in American history. Today is another tragic day in American football.
Yes.
And potentially, what's being said online is crazy here. I don't even know why we have to address this, but I feel like we do. Did Jake Paul just curse Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest living American football quarterbacks that's ever lived?
Listen, he may have started one because you have football has a Madden curse, the cover curse. You have the Drake curse. You know what I'm saying? You have these curses going on with athletes and celebrities and
the freaking UFC curse. Izzy's on the alternate cover doing this number to the whoever, and Sean Strickland takes him out, dominates him. We have a video hopefully coming out on that soon. But this is major news here in America, and I don't know that our UK fans are going to quite understand it, but to put this into context, this is like if Cristiano Ronaldo changed teams and went to, I don't know, he went to a massive team, and there was this super anticipated debut, like when he went back to Man United.
Yeah. And
immediately upon kicking the ball off, he falls to the ground in a heap, and we learned that he has potentially torn his Achilles. Since Achilles tears are what we call GG in sports.
GG. And not only that, but also imagine to a team that hasn't been winning and is home to the city of all cities on planet Earth.
Guess which city? New York on 9/11. We know the obvious reasons that that's important.
Yes.
He's making his debut in MetLife in New York. And we're going to look at it, and this makes it so sad. But the reason, and I'm not laughing at this, but I'm laughing at this. This it's preposterous to say this.
It's insane.
But apparently, Jets fans are blaming, Jake Paul, of all people, for Aaron Rodgers' injury because this happened, Sensei. It was a clean dap, I ain't gonna lie. That thing was snappy, Bog. Listen.
Bro, and when does the Jake Paul x Aaron Rodgers thing happen?
I don't know when that happened or how they know each other, but I knew Jake was in New York. Comes to the game.
And obviously, our fans in the influencer boxing scene, because the UK base may not know Aaron Rodgers, but he's one of the GOAT quarterbacks, arguably the most talented arm talent. It's like if it's not him, he's 1B or 1A. You know what I'm saying? He's up there as one of the best quarterbacks, best arm talent ever.
If we're talking arm talent, it goes Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Brett Favre.
Yeah.
And maybe your boy Psycho T. And that's about it.
Yeah.
As far as arm talent quarterbacks, he's one of the best. You can't even put into words some of the throws he makes. Again, from our UK audience, it's like if Ronaldo turned his foot backwards and then kicked it with his heel while facing the opposite way and scored a goal.
He reminds me of a Ronaldinho in the game.
Legitimately like Ronaldinho, our version. Now,
just does stuff that is
stupid.
You don't see happen.
Now, we might get copyrighted for this, so Christian, if we do, then, I don't know, play something else. But I just want to give people the context. Again, how sad this is and why it's probably, it might be the last we see of Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
This is him running out of the tunnel. And I know people are always talking about Americans, we are over the top with things. It's very much a show. This moment for the people of New York, no matter how many, 22 years later, it still sends goosebumps down your spine. It reminds you of, again, not even talking politics, but when George W. Bush walked out onto the mound in Yankee Stadium and pitched that strike down the middle after those attacks, dude. This was something not necessarily even close to that same magnitude, but for the city of New York, what they were getting with Aaron and the remembrance of 9/11. Let's just watch this, man.
It's a great thing for the city. It's a great thing for New York.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, it would have been, and
I'm talking about this moment right here.
This was amazing.
Beautiful thing.
This is amazing. Watch this, people. playing Thunderstruck, which is so sick. Look at that stadium, Sensei.
Energy.
Dude. Again, all before the game, he runs out. It's almost like the Broadway Joe treatment almost, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to show it, so people that are a little squeamish, I'm sorry, but you really don't see too much. But
Viewer discretion advised.
Viewer discretion advised. And then we get the moment that, quite frankly, just shatters your heart if you're a New York Jets fan. I don't know how much of this I can show because it is an ESPN copyrighted deal here.
Yeah, he's wearing number 8.
He's wearing number 8.
Or, dude, when he tore his Achilles? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah, man. Shouts to Kobe.
Because Aaron is actually very Kobe-esque in terms of his career.
Yeah.
And his style of play, just one of the most skilled ever. You know what I mean? One of the best ever.
Yeah. We're not going to be able to diagnose a patient based on nothing. We have no idea.
Right.
But there is a doctor on YouTube. Shout out Brian Sutter or Suterer. I don't know how to say his name. He is an actual MD. So let's take a listen and see what he thinks of what happened here to Aaron Rodgers. Because we think it's Achilles. We don't know, and he won't really know until this video's out tomorrow. So by the time you guys are watching, it'll probably be public. Let's see.
Against the Buffalo Bills, and in this video, we're going to dive into what I think might have happened to the Jets' star quarterback. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter, and my goal in this channel is to help teach you about the medical side of the sports world. So if sports injury, they're calling it an ankle injury. So what do I see on this play? What would I be thinking about? Well, number one, I think we're dealing with the left leg. I don't really see anything abnormal with the right, and so until we hear otherwise, I think we got to focus on this left calf. As he plants here, I want you to see how in this frame,
I just saw it.
Taut.
I just saw it. I didn't see it earlier when we did it, and I just saw it.
Yeah, buddy. That's how every time I'm like,
Woo!
As soon as his heel strikes, see that heel strike?
Brother, it's right there. There it is. There's his Achilles.
In the back of his calf. We can see these little contours. That's going to be his calf musculature. His foot is anchored and planted on the ground, and then as I advance a couple of frames, we see everything just kind of release. And it's right there in that release where I'm worried he might have suffered a significant calf injury, potentially even an Achilles injury, because the foot is still planted. There should still be load and tension through these muscles, but we see everything just kind of give as he goes down to the ground. Now, just because we see this snap doesn't mean that it has to be an Achilles rupture. You have
the fact that he went straight to rupture, though.
Doesn't have to be an Achilles rupture.
Like, you could have said, it doesn't have to be an
His
Achilles
neck
strain.
doesn't have to be completely snapped.
Okay.
Like, bro, maybe just a few vertebrae have been dislocated.
That's
like that, you know what I mean?
He's not quite decapitated.
Right.
This is
Jeez,
insane.
bro.
third often forgotten
you know how
muscle
serious
of
this is
the
now.
Achilles complex called the plantaris, and the plantaris can rupture, it can pop, it can feel like an Achilles injury. That might even be the little bit of contour that we're seeing right there in the middle of the back of the calf. And if that ruptures, it's not a big deal. It's not really a functional muscle. It certainly is not going to put anybody out for an extended period of time. So my hope is maybe that's all we're seeing here.
If that's it, I hope, man. I hope. And I'm not
But
about
if
to
he says
question.
it's not very useful, the
Not very
man
useful.
couldn't really stand up. He couldn't walk.
Yeah. Well,
So-
that's true. He fell straight to the ground after he stood up for a bit. So whatever the Panteris was he was talking about, don't know. But again, we're not doctors. He is.
Facts.
But this position, his ankle is dorsiflexed, meaning the foot is pointed upwards. The calf is going to be loaded. He gets driven down, and there's a stretch in the back of the calf that certainly could put somebody at risk of something like an Achilles injury. And we've all, of course, seen that dreaded snap, that kind of pop where everything almost recoils higher up in the leg. If his foot had come off the ground before this, I would say, well, the muscle tension was just released. That would be expected. But the heel is still planted when we almost see that release of the energy.
No, dude.
Another important view to look at here, just because initially I was wondering about a foot, because all I saw was this first view. If we look at how his left foot is planted into the ground, he then kind of comes and on this step right here, now this is after we've seen that kind of pop in the calf. Look how awkwardly his foot gets twisted. This kind of loading position of the foot almost looks to me.
How does he? Listen, doctors are a different breed, dude.
He's like, well,
He's just straight faced. Well, it looks like his foot is completely contorted against his body. There is no reflex anymore. It looks like his foot is dead. And we're over here.
Yeah, because the guy's landing on that weight. He's trying to replant on
Liz
it.
Frank, when we see that load through a plantar flex.
Right here.
Load going through.
Boom. Folding.
Jesus, dude.
Midfoot. But the pop had happened before
Please don't
this
show
in
it
the back
again.
of the calf. So I
Please
think
stop.
if this ends up coming out, and sometimes ankle versus foot, we kind of lose sight of all
I'm
this.
not looking.
I would wonder about the Liz Frank in his foot just from this awkward
Who?
sort of twist that he has on it.
Who is Liz Frank?
Worried about the Liz Frank in his foot.
Who is that?
Okay.
And why are we
Anyways.
letting Liz take over the conversation? This is about Aaron, dude. I don't know who Liz Frank is, but Frank Lee. I'm sick of this doctor replaying this. I'm done. All right. Sensei, I think we get the idea here. He's going into a lot of terms that we don't understand. But even him, it seems like he thinks this is an Achilles rupture. He's like trying to put qualifiers out that it may not be, but when you set out and say it may not be, it could be something else, you're stating that you think the majority of the time this is what this is.
Yeah.
These type of injuries at, what is he, 38? Hold on, let me look. These type of injuries, dude, at this age, and again, Kobe was 37 or 36.
Yep.
These are what we call career enders, man. This is why I said he's 39. This is why I said at the beginning of the video that run out might be him literally running off into the sunset. Imagine, again, UK people that have no idea what's going on right now or who Liz Frank is. Imagine Lionel Messi on the grandest stage, his debut for Inter Miami. That's not the grandest stage, but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
If it was the World Cup, I don't know. Opening match of the World Cup, and he blew his Achilles out, and that was it. That was GG for his career. He got taken from, that was it. The game was over. That's where we're at with Aaron Rodgers. So
and then Jake Paul gave him daps before the game.
And then Jake Paul gives him the dap, and now the internet is saying, look, Jake.
GG's Jake Paul.
I've dapped Jake up a couple times, and I'm not saying, I'm just saying I've had injuries in my Achilles as well. I don't know. Oh, bro. It was afterward.
Last time I saw Jake Paul in person, I almost tore my hamstring. So,
dude, I'm not saying. Hold on. Did Jake dap Logan up before the SummerSlam match versus Roman Reigns?
Before KSI, he sneezed 3 times, dude.
Dude, it's over. Don't hang around Jake when you got big events in your life.
That's wild.
Can't do it. You cannot do it, bro. You'd almost tore your hamstring. Logan almost tore his hamstring at the same event.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about realistically why this is happening, because obviously Jake didn't do this, but
because one of the American football players thinks that
we're gonna let's take a look here.
That MetLife likes the UK or the World Cup better than anything, right? What does he say about soccer?
So essentially, soccer players or people that watch soccer, I don't know if this is the case in other parts of the world, but here, American football is sometimes played on turf, and people outside of the U.S. will call it AstroTurf. That's not what it is. It's artificial turf. AstroTurf was what they played on in the freaking 80s, where it was literally just concrete and some slab carpet over it. You know,
it's like a rug.
It was literally a rug, and it was like they played in tennis shoes because what were you gripping? You know what I mean?
No cleats.
So they still do this, but now it's on some sort of like artificial grass simulator, essentially, right?
Right, with the rubber.
With the rubber pellets. I think in Tennessee now they're doing it with like coconut pellets. I don't know what that's supposed to do. I don't know. But I've always been of the idea this is stupid. If you are a quite frankly, multi-billion-dollar organization, you can afford a good groundskeeping team. And right. I don't know. And
was it just affordability? Because I like playing on turf better. What do you like playing on better?
Grass, 100%. I grew up on grass, dude. 100%.
Yeah. So I think I think it's more so me because of New England. So
the weather,
So like with turf, if it was like I remember we had a grass field at my high school in like my freshman year. Sophomore year, we had like a really bad storm into the winter, and like it's frozen and it's all mud because the grass is gone.
Right.
So like you're playing on rocks and ice essentially, and if it rains, like because the ground would freeze over the mud.
Okay, I got you.
So that's what it felt like.
Okay. I was like, dude, what kind of freaking jailhouse league are you playing
If
in?
it rained out, it's just straight mud.
Yeah.
The whole time.
I played in mud. Yeah.
So, but the thing is, like on turf, if it's raining out, you're still good. You can still cut. If it's snowing out a bit, you can still cut. So, like I've always felt like I could cut way faster, and I was way more agile in weather on turf than I was like on regular grass.
Bro, we've had this discussion kind of off camera. I never felt good on turf ever. My knees always hurt. Maybe that's an issue with, like you said, a difference in how you have to play when those things. But again,
I do think the turf does. It does. I think like they said, it like increases the impact. There's more impact on the turf than there is on
the
grass.
ground will give. If you stick a cleat in the ground and twist your foot, the ground will give. Your foot will be able to move. If you do that on turf, you're going to tear an ACL. Like it doesn't give the same way. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's why I like it, because I'm like,
I've always loved grass, always. And maybe that's an issue that we could get into, but this is what, oh God, will you do his last name because I don't know how to say it. David, go ahead.
Bakhtari?
Bakhtiari.
Bakhtiari.
Bakhtiari. There you go. That's it. Bakhtiari. David Bakhtiari says, congrats at NFL. How many more players have to get hurt on artificial turf? You care more about soccer players than us. You plan to remove all artificial turf for the World Cup coming up, so it's clearly feasible. I'm sick of this. Do better. I don't disagree with him here on this. The NFL has far and away enough money to keep a grounds crew. Every team, and that's not just the NFL, every team has enough money to do this. I don't care about inclement weather. Play in the weather. You play in it anyway. When the ball's wet, you don't go, hey, sorry, we're going to go get an artificial Velcro ball. Got to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to play in the elements. That's part of the game, in my opinion. And I think soccer fans would agree. That's why they want to play on grass and why they've always played on grass.
But I thought this is a question, I guess, for people who play soccer more. I thought it was because of the ball on the ground.
It could be.
Like the ball would just literally, like we talked about earlier, baseball cannot be played on turf because if you do, a ground ball will literally take your head off.
I think baseball is played on turf, though.
It is?
I think there's turf fields in baseball. I'm pretty sure there is.
I mean, if there is, I know there's always an argument of like the people get annoyed with it because it
does happen.
Travels way faster.
I
thought for baseball it has to be. I mean, for soccer it has to be because the ball is on the ground the whole game.
Yeah, 25 ballparks have natural surfaces while 5 have artificial turf. So again, it happens.
They play on turf?
Yes, dude. It says the Rays, the Marlins, the Diamondbacks, and the Rangers.
Wow.
All super hot weather climates. But again, to me, it's always been a money-saving issue.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like,
weird.
You know what I'm saying? We don't want to keep up. But maybe in soccer it's different. But the whole point is, I have never liked turf. I think it's a detriment to, and we'll talk about this because I think you have some different opinions on it. I think it's a detriment to young athletes because you grow up playing on grass. Your body gets used to cutting on grass, to landing on grass, to playing, using energy to start and stop on grass. And then you turn 19, 20 years old, you go off to college in America, and you play, and most of these colleges now have turf.
I was going to say, most of the high schools have turf right now.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody is now doing it.
Yeah. So by the time you're a teenager, you're already, but you're still, like, your whole life as a kid, and then you
go and do this thing. It's like
you
now
start lifting weights, you're getting bigger and stronger, and then boom, you're on turf.
It doesn't make sense to me. Because we're seeing, I don't know this to be the case, but I think we're seeing a disproportionate number of Achilles and ACL, MCL, PCL, like ligament and tendon tears in these athletes, in football mostly, obviously because that's where most of the turf is, at a disproportionate rate, I think, than we've ever seen it. I could be wrong about that, but it feels that way. It feels like some of the greatest players every year, there's like 2 hands, you can't even count them. 20 dudes go down. ACL. Achilles, sorry.
Yeah. I feel like I see it in basketball, though, a lot, too. That's why I'm like...
Basketball on hardwood, that makes sense. But again, maybe there's the correlation from what you're about to say, which I think is the way athletes are trained now.
Yeah, the cross training is dangerous. Like, and we make the comparison to boxing a lot. Like, boxing coaches will tell you, don't bench press, don't do heavy weights with upper body. If you want to lift, you can do like leg stuff, but like you even see like some of the best boxers, like their body,
no chest, all shoulders, rolled
all
over.
shoulders, right?
Bench.
Exactly, rolled
Yeah.
over, because if you're doing bench press, you're putting the load on your pec, which means you hook, you can tear your pec muscle, which will make you faster. If you work out, it'll make you super strong. It'll make you really fast and explosive, but it's dangerous because you become too strong at one thing, and then you do this motion that you have to be loose, and it's reactive. And it becomes, and that's what happens. You do too much. I feel like if you do a lot of cross training, that's one of the biggest differences now, the way the athletes train than they used to. There's a lot more cross training now. Like, you're always doing a different workout, or you're doing this lifting program for this sport.
Do you think it's
and this
more of
lifting
a
program for this?
Because you say the word cross training, do you think it's more a hyper isolation per training session? Like, we talked about this off camera. I thought you made a good point. The way you trained for boxing, the way you trained for football, the way you trained for basketball was by playing the sport.
Yes.
Right?
They're
Now
not doing the same thing.
you see like a lot of super isolation training. All right, we got to train your vertical. We got to train your 40. We got to train your the muscles you would use to do very static things that aren't necessarily conducive to the game itself, right?
Yeah, because think about what just happened with Aaron Rodgers. Let's say he does like a sled pull or like a sled push.
Yeah.
Okay. You have the weight in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
You're loading, pushing, loading the weight with your feet and then pushing. But we're going to take this weight, we're going to swing it around you like a hula hoop, and I want you to bail out, like you're bailing out of the pocket.
Yeah.
And then put one hand on the ground and drive your left foot into the ground, and we're going to propel the weight in the opposite direction at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? So again, I don't think has anything to do with training.
I was going to say, there could be an argument to be made that there was nothing that could have stopped what happened.
Nothing there. But like, if that's the non-contact injuries, I think is the more of the controversy. The guys who are just running and they cut and they hurt themselves. Yeah. But if I'm practicing a deadlift, flat-footed, and my quads are like, yes, lifting 700 pounds, put it down. Lifting 700 pounds, put it down. And then I use all that power to propel me in a certain direction.
Yeah.
And then I want to stop and redirect on one foot. You know what I'm saying? We're not deadlifting 700 pounds and then carrying that weight and then planting right foot and then making a cut.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the same argument we do with boxing. If you bench press or you're doing like dumbbell bench presses with 100 pounds in each hand or whatever, super strong, but then you go to throw your hook and you rotate and your arm gets extended, it's not used to that type of extension there and the speed behind it. All of a sudden, kapow, So I think it's more of the, not with this, but like the overall injuries you see in basketball. It's interesting to see what you do what happens in soccer.
Because you don't,
in other countries.
I don't hear about a lot of that in soccer.
Well,
Maybe
here's the thing,
it's
bro.
a different sport, and your muscles are developed differently.
It's not just a different sport. Here's a good point. In soccer, what sport do you play?
That's it.
I'm sorry, in soccer. What the hell am I talking about, dude?
Yeah.
In Europe,
play soccer.
Right?
Yeah.
You're playing soccer. So if you're playing soccer, most of your training is going to be soccer related.
Yep.
You're not doing American football program. You're not doing a basketball program.
But here's the thing,
that's
too.
what I'm
It's
saying. The
program.
difference is where in America, I could be doing cleans and like deadlifts and bench as a soccer player.
That's what I'm saying. It's the program itself. I wonder, and like you're saying, I wonder what soccer players, like, what is their training actually like? Because every time I see them, their legs are super developed, right? But it's not like a power
also, how do you get How do you get there? Exactly. How did they get to that?
And I want to see, because every training I see, and again, it's just because I don't take time to go and look into programs or whatever. But every training I see from these guys is like on-field training, dribbling a ball, doing cuts, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is, on the field with the ball at their feet, cut. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I don't see a ton of, and maybe I'm wrong here, I don't see a ton of soccer players, like you said, power cleaning and deadlifting. And
yeah, when you see football players, quarterbacks specifically, quarterbacks, right? What are they doing for their shoulder? They're not like, oh, I'm going to do like 200 pounds over my head to get a stronger arm. It's about the health of the shoulder, flexibility, strength with the length of it. You know, you're doing those type of things, but you're not going to see you're going to see a running back power clean and deadlift.
I don't know, man.
You know, because they need that. So it's, I think it's a bit of the cross training can be dangerous. You can be too strong in one area and not as strong in the other area.
We could be completely talking a bunch of shit here. It could just be that football is so fucking dangerous that this stuff is bound to happen. He was 39 years old. He made a cut. His body has been through that cut.
Bro, what are we saying?
I know.
Bro's 39.
I know.
I would hurt myself doing that like I did on Saturday.
Right now, we would do that in
2 weeks ago. I almost tore my hamstring running on air.
Yeah. So it's like
I'm 32.
We were kind of talking some bullshit, but it's more so this is an opportunity to highlight something else, right? Even if the turf isn't there, it probably happens. But the fact that there are guys that have a lot of non-contact injuries in football, it's not making sense. But all we can say is this. Jake Paul should stay far, far away from me. Jake, no, man. I think that sucks for Jake. And I'm seeing people already memeing Aaron Rodgers, which I think is just, it's the internet. It is what it is.
Terrible.
But it's just fucking poor, piss poor. Like, people are putting, like, look at this, dude. Full season highlights. He's running through the tunnel. Someone's got the freaking beyond scared straight thing. Like, stupid, bro. Jets fans kicking their TV. Zach Wilson walking into the locker room. Like, this is stupid. But I hate this for Aaron because this was going to be his swan song. This was going to literally be his ride into the sunset. And I don't know that now we get that. But I guess the moral of this entire video is, I don't know, man. Enjoy your superstars while they're here. Whether they're in football, whether they're in soccer, boxing, whatever. LeBron is creeping up to that age, and he's been bulletproof. But enjoy the greatest athletes of their time while they're here, because in a blink,
facts,
it can be over. But Sensei, that's where we leave it. Comment section, let us know. Did Jake Paul curse Aaron Rodgers? Is he cursing all of us? Sensei's got a hammy. I got an Achilles myself. We don't have those answers, but we hope for the best for Aaron's health, and whatever happens with him, I guess we'll find out.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah.